Well, hello everybody. Welcome back
Happy post-Easter.
from the dining slash living room. We come to you some coffee,
And some Greta. She's down here.
coffee and a dog. That's
She's
right.
taking a nap, though.
Yeah, it's been what a week, and it culminated with Easter yesterday.
Yeah, we took a few days off from making content, I think.
Yeah, we
it
did.
was like 2 or 3, I think.
Took the weekend off.
Took a little bit, and
Yeah.
it was much needed. It was really nice because
It felt like normal. It's like, hey,
yeah, it was really nice. And not that, it's kind of like even if you love your job, you still need time off to like chill, you know what I mean? And it
just
was
to
good.
break up the routine.
Yeah, I'd say that. And also, I have to say, it was like, you probably all know this if you live in Southern California, but if you don't, it was like gloomy for 5 days. And
Oh,
I know
yeah.
you're probably thinking, like, homie, it was snowing where I'm at, or it's like, it's still 32 degrees. But here, we're not used to that. So
No.
I know you were too. It was like, yeah, like low key, it was like really depressing. Like,
It gets me after a while. I'm gonna get
yeah,
a couple of days and stuff.
a
It's
day
fine.
or two, it's fine. But like, this was 5 days on end. It was like, ugh, and it was cold.
The weirdest part for me, honestly, is that it time warps. And what I mean by that is like, if it's an overcast day and it's about 11 o'clock, like, and you're down at the beach, there's a certain light look that it has where it's like, it's the middle of the day. The sun is high, even though it's buried beneath all these clouds. But there's a kind of a look that it gives. And it's, a diffused sun look. And it feels like that all day until 6 o'clock. And so you have no clue what time it is. And I'm a big kind of a sun guy as far as like, I think I subconsciously gauge it with, like I know where it is and I know what time of day it is. And I'm sure a lot of people are like that. I'm not special in that way, but I'm just saying those days mess me up so bad because I'll get stalled out doing something, and be like, oh, I gotta, I have a list today that I gotta get some stuff done, and I'll get stuck doing one thing, and I'm like, how long have I been doing this? And I don't even know, like, check my phone. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's already 3 o'clock. Like, I thought it was like 11. And then, it's just, anyways, that's my.
For me, I get really unmotivated. Like, I don't want to do anything. On the positive side, what was good about the gloomy weather is it was way easier to keep the seeds in our garden. Like,
oh, yeah.
I'm going to use the word, but moist.
It was a perfect time for that.
It was great. And we have a huge update coming for that. We're going to be filming that later today / tomorrow.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for some garden update. It's kind of a big one.
It's
I think they're all going to
vegetabulous.
it's vegetabulous. I think all of our updates going forward are going to be pretty big as far as that goes because, like, in just a week, it changes so much, even a few days. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was probably the only good thing about the gloom. However, we were gifted with a beautiful, beautiful Easter. Like, absolutely perfect.
Like, it felt like Easter.
It felt like Easter. Does everybody remember last year? I think Easter was towards the end of March, and it was really, really, I think it was raining.
It was raining, yeah.
And we had just moved in here.
Yep.
And I think the only thing that was, like, good about it was the fact that, we were just happy to be here. But we had Kaylee over, my niece, and we did an Easter egg hunt, like, a few days later, or maybe it was the next day. I think it was like April 1st or something like that.
Yeah.
She liked it so much that she was like,
we did it again.
We did it again. She was genuinely so stoked about that Easter egg hunt.
Yeah.
And who knows at this point whether she really, really believes in the bunny or not, but I will still be doing this until she's 18.
Yeah.
Or farther. I mean, it doesn't matter how old she is, as long as she still likes it. It's fun to go on a scavenger hunt, whether you believe in it or not.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
She's really into solving puzzles and mysteries, and you know what I mean.
Just
so
the whole thing.
Yeah, it's a whole other layer as opposed to just trying to find a colorful egg somewhere in the yard or something like that. It's way more dimensional for her, and she thinks about it all the time. The backstory behind it of like, why would he do this here, and why would he put it here? based on that, he would probably do this over here. Like it's just this really.
Yeah, her
she
imagination with
takes it to
is
another level.
Yeah, it's totally another level.
That's
So
fun.
that being said, we got to work, and Spencer made a really cool sign.
Yeah.
And our friend Dylan was here anyway, just hanging out. So he was even helping us with the scavenger hunt and drawing the clues as
There was a major pre-production.
There was
happening,
and it was fun. We
and there was even show cues involved.
There was, yeah. We had a lot of moving parts, but I think we all orchestrated it well.
Yep.
My mom was gonna come over too, but she's exhausted. She was like, "Listen, I'm gonna take this day." Sometimes she does that where she'll like kind of hang out for like a few hours, but then she's like, "Listen, I just want to go home and relax." And that's her quiet, chill time, because she has my niece a lot. So at her age, she's like, "Listen, I just want to relax." So often we are all left doing the fun stuff, and we send her videos, and she's just cracking up. So Kaylee came over.
Henry was here. Charlie was here.
My stepdad came over, and he brought Kaylee. And then Pixar Charlie, we didn't 100% know he was going to make it up here. He was kind of like, well, because he's got a busy schedule. He works a full-time job, and, so we just put the invite out there, and it was an Easter miracle.
It was.
It was an Easter miracle.
Yeah.
Charlie showed up. So it was just a fun group of people, and we had such a good time. So
we grilled too.
Yeah, we grilled, but I think the Easter egg hunt was just probably the most fun part, because we were all walking around watching Kaylee read her clues.
Yeah,
and, but then we had a really nice barbecue. That was a good time, and we got to use our barbecue from Ballistic Barbecue from Greg.
Dude.
Greatness. We're still
I'm
still
such
have
an
to
amateur.
get more lessons.
But the cool thing is, even as an amateur, it still works really well.
Yeah.
And it's like we cooked food on it, and that's really the idea.
And we kept it really simple though.
Yeah.
Like we went to the most simplistic thing. I'm still a little intimidated to do steaks. Even like again, when he came over and he was kind of like showing us for the first time, we were all just having such a good time hanging out. We didn't really pay attention that well of how to do these things.
And he was moving fast too, because he's good at it. So I'm just like, okay.
I'm very happy he has a channel that teaches you these things, because I really need to sit down and do that.
Yeah.
But if not, I feel like we just need to have an excuse to just have them come back over. Like,
no, I know.
Just gonna have to do that again. I feel like that's just.
Well, he's got a burger channel too, so.
That I know we actually could have learned from that, but again, I'd rather have the excuse of just come over and hang out.
No,
right?
I know.
Like,
yeah.
Don't you feel like that's way better?
Well, of course, yeah.
So anyway, thank you, Greg, for the grill. Again, we're still so stoked about it.
We made it work. Yeah, that was awesome.
We did. It was really good. Everybody had such a good time. So I'd say Easter, comparatively to last year to this year, 100% success, and taking time off was amazing.
Yeah, it was necessary. We even had a little weird, whoever lives in the Southland, and I say Southern California is what I mean. First time this has ever happened to me. Let me know from you guys. Has it ever happened to you? We got an earthquake alert.
Yeah, we did. The alert actually worked. So
and an earthquake afterwards. Consequently, sorry, I should have finished that. We're like, great, you got an alert. Good for you. Like, no.
Yeah.
We got an alert, and 20 seconds later.
Boy, that chair is squeaky.
Every
time you move, it's creaky.
We got an alert, and then 20 seconds later, I was basically sitting at this table. Katie was over on the couch over there, and we were kind of like, whoa, did you, she got it first, then I got it. And then we were kind of just sitting here waiting for it. Like, weird. That's never happened. Like, usually an earthquake is confusing at first. So for me, anyways, the first part of it, I'm like, wait a minute, are we having a, and then, whoa, earthquake, and then it's over.
Mm-hmm.
This was we were waiting for it. So every bit of it was oh, there it is. And then it was a full shimmy
it shook us
roller.
Really good.
It was a roller. So it was weird. I'd never experienced one where I knew it was about to happen, and then it happening, and then, that was weird. That was really weird. I could almost feel it. I just kind of had a flashback in my head because I was sitting here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why the chair is squeaking.
Did we have another one while I was talking about it? What if we did?
Well, I think it was really strange because there were people like I personally know. Oh, my mom actually.
Yeah.
Her and I were talking after, and she was in the living room with Kaylee and my stepdad Henry. They all got the alert and then felt nothing, which is, she's like, that was a weirder experience because
That's really weird.
it said, so also my grandma, she said obviously she didn't get an alert. She didn't have a smartphone. But my grandma was like, we felt absolutely nothing. Like, not a
See,
thing.
no, that's
so
why
where they're located.
That's why I wonder if, like, because we were expecting it, did we really feel every nuance that normally you might not have felt?
No, I felt it because we had a little planter knock over. Like, we actually felt it good here.
Yeah.
And then I was talking to two of our neighbors, and they were like, oh, yeah, like, we had a little thing knock over.
Yeah, it
like,
had a
just
good
little
shift
thing.
to it.
So it's all, you have to remember, there's fault lines. Like, even if
True.
you're just a couple cities apart, that doesn't mean that, you know, and some people could be up on a hill and that make, you know, like, listen, I'm basically the new, like, earthquake expert. I'm just kidding. But yeah, like, it's not, I was reading about it, and it's not uncommon. Like, you could be even a couple streets over. Like, you could be even a couple streets over and, you know, not feel it and somebody feel it. So
topography and whatever's under there and all that.
So it's not, but I think it must have been weird to get an alert that says, okay, drop and cover, you're going to have an earthquake expected, and then nothing happens.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been more weird in my opinion. So, you know, but we definitely felt it. We definitely got that alert, and it was like, it was weird, and it lasted a good while. But I found out it goes 5.0 and higher. Because I had wondered.
For the alerts?
So there's a Shake Alert app, I think is what it's called. That's what went off first. And then maybe like 5 to 10 seconds later, that's when our iPhones had their own alert.
Right.
So, but
mine was delayed. Yours, you had the Shake Alert one or something. And
I had both. So I had the Shake Alert. That went off way before. Like, again, it was like 15... I'd say it was 15 seconds. Because I watched one of our security cameras, and that's another thing. Our security camera shook.
Okay.
It was pretty interesting. But, again, it's for the Shake Alert app, and I don't know how the iPhone works. That one is 5.0 or higher. Yeah. And because this one originally was clocking in at a 5.8, I think it got downgraded. It was near
like
Carlsbad.
5.5 or something.
Or no, I thought it was even lower, I think. But I
mean, that's pretty close. That's North County, San Diego, and that's pretty close to here.
That's why immediately I texted Charlie, and I was like, are you all right? And he was like, oh, yeah, like, you have to, you know, where he works, he was like, oh, yeah, he was at work. So, poor guy, I was like, oh, my gosh, I'm glad you're okay. So, that was just a weird thing. It's just been an odd thing around here. We had the gloomy weather.
Yeah.
We had an earthquake.
Yeah.
Then, you know, we also were, we were not going to Palm Springs, which we normally would have went around this time.
When it gets gloomy, like we were talking about, and there's endless days of it, if we end up having the time, we will drive out to the Palm Desert, either for the day or like an overnighter. But we have done just day trips where sometimes we'll get a pool pass, sometimes we won't, sometimes we'll just go out there to just go hang and go to the pump track and go to eat dinner and just whatever. So we were going to do that this week.
And the way it all timed out, it was like, okay, we have like the perfect time to go because it's 5 days of gloom.
Right.
But it timed out to Coachella.
Coachella. Yeah. So Coachella, if you don't know what it is, it's a music festival they do out in the desert that happens over the course of 2 consecutive weekends.
Which I always thought it was just one.
No, it's 2. And so it may have been 1 originally, you know. I don't know. Someone let us know in the comments. The week in between is usually fairly docile because nobody's staying that long. Usually they're going for 1 weekend and leaving, and then the next weekend is a different group of people generally, or maybe there's the same. Who knows? Anyways, what I'm saying is we thought, well, you know, we could head up there midweek maybe, but it was towards the end of the week when we were thinking maybe we should go, and, you know, like I think it was Wednesday or Thursday, and we were kind of like, I don't know. And I don't know. We just decided to stay away and
I'm kind of glad we did because I saw there was like some high winds and
there was
not that that's not uncommon over there, but it was like between the big crowds and that it was like it was probably the better thing to do.
Yeah,
But,
yeah,
it's weird though. It's one of those things where I was looking back on my memories,
yeah.
and I thought this was an interesting thing. We had multiple times where we would go into January and like, or it would be, just before January, just before New Year's, and we would be like, our goal is to just travel more. Like, that's what you're going to see more of.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah,
I've realized it that like whenever we've planned that, it just doesn't seem to work out the way we wanted to. So obviously this year the fires that really took a huge. We were lucky to even be able to get to Vegas for your
yeah,
thing like that.
yeah.
Because we're still there's
It
a lot
stalled us
going on.
out.
Yeah,
It
there's a
totally stalled us
lot
out.
going on behind the scenes.
Yeah,
Which we have to talk about something about that in a minute. So don't let me forget.
yeah, yeah,
But just again, even something as simple as doing one of our regular spots that you see on our channel, like Palm Springs. Not that it's Coachella, but sometimes other things have come up, and it's just amazing that like just things, like
yeah,
things are coming up and things are changing our plans always. And
yeah,
I've noticed that in the past few years, that's just been like we didn't know we were going to get this house. Like when
no,
we had set those plans, 2 years ago, we were like, yeah, we're going to be traveling more.
yeah,
Then Greta, then family stuff
yeah,
comes up, and my grandma needs us closer, or whatever it might be. So again, it was just I was looking back at these memories and thinking about like, does anybody else have that where like you have these grandiose plans, and it's even harder when you have a YouTube channel
yeah.
and you're like, yeah, we really like we're
It's
gonna do
weird.
this, and you know what I mean?
It's weird because I've always kind of been a non-planner.
Yeah,
Like I just kind of flow, and like when things come up, I just kind of go. And it was easier to be that way years ago,
right.
before there was like everything had reservations, and
Yeah,
because of the situation, how things changed because of that, and just things just have gotten more crowded because of maybe social media or whatever. We're to blame as well. I'm not saying we're not. I'm just saying like
part of the
how
problem.
the world works now is a little different, and so a spontaneous approach to things is a
Mm-hmm.
little more difficult. It can be achieved. It's just that it's a little more difficult, and I'm just more privy to the just that style, and I think sometimes it's more fun to do that because it just I've overplanned things before. I'm like, okay, you know what? I need to be more of a planner. It's better. It's more adult or whatever. And then I've planned things, and then something really cool will come up, and like, oh, that's I should be doing this, not that. But it's like I didn't know that we were gonna, for instance, like when I was snowboarding a lot, it was like I didn't know we were gonna get 40 inches of snow, or whatever, and this would be the most epic day of the year, and whatever, as opposed to like, oh yeah, didn't you guys plan on going to I don't know, something. Anyways, I digress. What I'm saying is, going with the flow style uh, is really what I would prefer. But you also have to plan because you're adults, and we have a channel, and we like to kind of show things, and it involves a little planning.
Yeah, it's just interesting. It's like every time we would kind of plan something, we'd be like, okay, this is the year that we're traveling more.
Yeah,
This is the year that we're whatever. Again, it's like something comes up, and not in a bad way, because again, getting the house, starting our garden, getting Greta,
right.
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
maybe those things I would, if given the option, would I rather take those or the travel? Like I'm kind of thinking like,
right.
you
Because you
know,
do you do sacrifice. I know the answer, or the I know the response would be, you know, well, you're missing out on things that you know, are you have to plan. There's certain things that you just have to plan. You can't just go, hey, tomorrow you want to go, you know, jump over to the Galapagos, and
mhm.
like you just no, you have to plan certain things. Whatever, for reservations, all sorts of reasons.
Mhm.
Yes, that's true. Um, but I think what Katie's saying is like, there's also value in other things.
Well, I'm finding this new
Yeah,
this new era of like when it was like, oh, like it kind of seemed like the thing I was really craving was traveling,
mm,
but I'm starting to realize like working on the house, doing the garden, staying around here, going to the beach, like exploring new things with Greta,
yeah,
I don't know. I've really just been enjoying this like season of my life. And
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe that's going to change because again, what I valued even before the pandemic, we were like
It's
theme
different.
parks. We were feeling theme parks. We were
Super different.
feeling
Yeah.
like, I remember we had an annual pass to Universal Orlando. We had
Uh-huh.
a pass to Walt Disney World.
Yeah.
It was that phase of life.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was really stoked about it. It was exciting.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
great for the time. We didn't have a dog. We
Yeah.
were in our Irvine apartment.
Yeah.
And it's just funny how these seasons happen. And again, I've just been kind of thinking about it lately of like, because it's like that saying what Andy Bernard said in The Office, like, you don't know you're in the good times
Until they're.
until they're gone.
Yeah.
Well, you don't realize you're in a season, too much. I don't often reflect enough on that.
It's hard to. When you get a
That's
little.
what's on my head. I had sunglasses on my head this whole time.
It's like, have you seen my hat? I don't know where my hat is.
I was like, something's on my head. Sorry to cut you off.
No,
okay.
no. It's weird. As you get older, sadly, I'm going to be that guy. You start to know and recognize what you're talking about a little bit. It's not clear. It's not by any means like, oh, this is a thing. It's just that you almost just take everything for like, yeah, this is probably a thing.
Yeah.
Even though at the time you could easily say, like, really? Like, usually what defines a thing is this, and this in the past or whatever. It's like, no, trust me. It's going to be the thing that you don't expect to be a thing will be a thing. And so then you start to recognize those things.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. And you start to appreciate them, which also freaks you out because you're like, uh-oh, does it mean if I start figuring this out that like I'm getting close to the end of my thing or something like,
it's
are we
so
supposed to
weird.
figure this out? Like, does that mean like, I'm getting this knowledge, and then it's like with that knowledge comes the next step. Like, no,
it's so
crazy thoughts, but
it's so weird because I keep going like, you know what? Like you've been on this like graffiti and like art thing. It's kind of funny because the way it happened was like, we had kind of manifested a little bit of it.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's really just been this like vibe that I've really been enjoying and these experiences I've been enjoying because I do want to, I should probably have said that in the beginning when I brought this subject up, but of course we want to still have that goal of traveling and doing stuff, but I kind of like that the traveling with the graffiti and like,
yeah, it's fun.
I don't know, I'm kind of feeling that vibe, like the Vegas thing, it really like sparked an excitement for me.
Yeah.
And, again, doing stuff around here, like kind of local, some California stuff. And also, everything's really expensive now. Like, traveling a lot is not like, I don't know.
And people are talking about it, but they're not. It's weird.
Yeah.
Like, even the Coachella thing, like, that's an expensive endeavor, Yeah,
they said that 60% of people did that as like a payment plan, which again, everybody live your life, do what you want to do. I support people.
Yeah.
You get one life, and I think you should do what makes you happy.
But your point is that,
with money not being like
there's not a lot of disposable income.
It's not a lot of it. It's like I really want to make the experiences and the thing that I do put my money into, I want it to be in things that are making us really, really happy. You know?
And that's why like
doing the garden has made me so happy, especially after the fire. That was like,
well, that goes back to
crazy traumatic.
The old like follow your bliss.
Yep.
And that's why manifestational work is if it's actually in your heart and by following your bliss, you know what I mean? Like, so when you're talking about the art stuff that we manifested, we had talked earlier in the year about wanting to do more stuff. And I think it had spawned out of doing the Melrose painting.
Mm-hmm.
That was an opportunity that came up from some of my friends, one of which who couldn't show up to do his portion of the wall that he was going to redo. So I stepped in as like an understudy. I don't know what you would call it, right?
Yeah.
And so I got to use that spot, and then that got us enthused and kind of like, hey, this was fun, and these people were fun to hang out with and do this painting thing with, and that's kind of what it's all about for me. It's like the process. I'm a big process guy, so the process of painting those things is what I love, and all the stuff that a lot of stuff you guys don't see. like we try to show, time lapse and things in the video, but there's a lot of stuff that just life is happening around you and you're outside and you're painting. And so it's this really great experience for a lot of reasons that I won't go into because I could just talk for hours about that. But we manifested that because we just were like, I want to do, we got to do more of this. This was really fun. And I think when we both manifest it and we're both feeling it, it's really crazy because
Yeah.
it's like this, it's, Wonder Twin powers activate, or something. I don't know.
But that's cool. And that being said, though, we have some more that we're working on planning, and
Oh yeah.
I think we need to just, if you're on a good wave, like follow it, ride it, like take
Well,
it in.
and the proof of it, like what she's saying is we have something else planned, but then there's these little random things that keep coming,
Offshoots
that are they're direct results of like maybe the previous thing because
Right.
somebody knew somebody else and said, hey, oh, you're doing a thing, you should,
It's
talk to
become,
these guys or
yeah,
whatever. It's just this
it's a
network thing that's
network.
happening.
I was just about to say that. It's a
Yeah.
network thing.
Yeah.
And again, it couldn't have come at a better time.
Yeah.
As you know, January was the fire thing. Now, we had mentioned this in our Malibu update, which, by the way, thank you for everybody who has been watching those. We are going to keep those coming.
Yeah.
We've been doing our weekly Disneyland updates, and we're keeping our Malibu updates about weekly or every week and a half.
Yeah.
So just know that we are staying on it. But something we've been dealing with, and again, it's not a huge deal, is so weird, the electric bill. That our place is all electric, and we got debited, like they've been just taking money.
And not only that, they because there's no read on the meter, they're making an estimated bill. That's what they do, I guess.
Which is normal. I mean,
which
yeah.
is a normal thing, but we don't even have power at all. So it's been, they've been just estimating a bill and just taking the money out, for all of January, all of February.
Even
it's like,
prior when there was no power
Yeah.
because of the foresight
So-
of the fire. So it's been just
Oh
kind
my
of wild,
gosh.
like having that whole experience.
because you have to follow up on it and you have to make the call, and it seems ridiculous when you're like, "Hi, yeah, so we got a bill for."
Our neighborhood looks like
Yeah, and we haven't had power since the 7th. I'm not sure if you're aware. Anyways, just happy to pay the bill. Just not sure what I'm paying for. It's like,
so it was just a weird, awkward few weeks of like dealing with that, and it wasn't as simple as you would think. I guess that's the best way I can put it. Like,
no.
we got a little bit frustrated multiple times where we were like, what the heck,
Well,
and it's
Yeah,
like Kevin says on The Office. Man, I'm really fun. It's human natural.
yeah.
It's human nature, though. Like, you get a little frustrated, and
Yeah.
it's a hot button subject for us.
Well,
it's like,
it's because of the way that systems are set up.
oh yeah, that
You know
was
what I mean?
annoying.
Like payment systems and the
Yeah,
all that. The way that's all set up is not breachable backwards. Like if that system does something like where it was charging us to reverse that train and to back that thing up,
yeah.
that's where there's the problem. Like
It was so annoying. Yeah,
So-
there was like one of the payments was like a little over, I don't know, it was over $100 or something like that. And they were like, okay, yeah, we need to give this money back to you because there was no electricity. Well, that'll take 40 days to get it back to you. We're like,
30,
what?
45 days.
Like, what? You took it instantly, but
And I don't care. It's $100, like
Yeah.
whatever. But the point of the matter is funny. Of like,
it was so
like,
weird.
you can take it in a second. The system can just go, we need the money, bink, right? And then we got to reverse it. Give them the money back. Oh,
And again, we
like
can only laugh at this point, but there were other things that were so frustrating about the whole thing. And I mean, the whole thing is frustrating because you're just watching people you care about go through just absolute HE double hockey sticks.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating.
Well, you know what?
know?
I heard recently that was kind of annoying that we haven't had to deal with, but man, just think if you're trying to rebuild and you're trying to move forward with stuff. Apparently, the if you have workers coming or whatever, they have to get permits, and where they get those permits for the Palisades is like an hour away.
Oh my gosh! Then traffic.
And
Ugh.
yeah, and so it's really discouraging, and then it's also taking so much of the day's time because if you think those guys aren't going to be getting paid while they're getting their
Hourly.
permits, they are, because that's part of the job. So it's
Right.
like cutting into the, so by the time they get to the job, well, this is where, Mayor Bass and the authorities should step in to do something, because they're kind of running around touting how look at how great we're doing, but it's like, yeah, but the process is really difficult. I just saw that recently. On this guy has been covering it on the ground. On he's got an Instagram account, and I believe he has a construction company that does a lot of the remediation, and he's been kind of telling you like what's really going on and how things are. And so it's sad that that stuff's not part of the news cycle anymore, so no one's hearing about it. It's not front line news, and they're not going to put it there. So that's what's going on. It's a little bit of bureaucracy in the way of progress over there and that thing. But are we surprised? Not really. I don't think anybody's really surprised about it. If you were to bring it up to any Angelino, they'd be like, "Yeah, well, that's how it goes." But looking forward, um,
We thankfully will just keep updating. They're saying they're going to update that they're going to open the road.
yeah,
So we're just going to kind of hang in there and continue to share with you what's going on, especially on our beach, because that's our access.
hmm
And although it's not all of it, the most we can do is drive by with those because we have the resident access pass. I'm very curious to see what it's going to be like at the end of May when they supposedly open Pacific Coast Highway.
yeah.
I just know these businesses are they
Well, they're
are
gonna,
hurting. They've been
yeah.
putting them on the
I think our
news.
next update, we're gonna get a little more into detail about the road and the highway and that whole thing, because we've been kind of focusing on the homes, the lots, the clearing,
Yeah,
our situation, how we're involved. We haven't really gotten into the whole thing about the road, because that's a big conversation, because like she's saying, the businesses and the access to the city and the Santa Monica from that way. Yes, you can get there from the valleys and the canyons and all that, but there's a huge flow of people that come up from Santa Monica. So that's something we'll talk about probably on the next Malibu update.
yeah, and going forward, we're just trying to keep you. I think we're keeping our own rotation of like we're trying to do something fun here and there. Like again, I think we've gotten a lot of feedback. People really enjoyed seeing the LA history
Yeah,
from your perspective as a resident for your whole life,
yeah,
and all the history and the Hollywood history, and
it's all tied in. That's what's fun.
especially with how Hollywood and these studios are just not like it's a sad investment right now. Like
Sadly, yeah,
I
like
feel really bad.
the industry, the one that I was involved in, the television industry, I'm still involved as much as I can be.
Yeah,
But I say it in past tense because the TV industry as we know it is over.
it's
Um,
like Gonzo.
the way that what I knew it to be, um, and the film industry as well. It's it's not looking good. There's vacant stages.
Well,
Warner
even
Brothers,
yeah,
Uni. There's a lot of vacant stages. That's why Universal they're leaning into the theme park and condensing their stages over there by Barham, kind of where we did the wall and where they did the voice and stuff. They're kind of condensing it all in this small area with these big stages, and then they're pivoting and they're putting their money elsewhere,
right,
because if you're trying to get involved in TV or film right now independently, it's kind of it's a good time.
right.
But the studios and the construct that we know, that the studios are hurting really bad.
It's not like when you were in the heyday of it,
I was in the heyday and I
well
caught the
the
end.
I was gonna say the end of it. So
Yeah, but I started working in the '80s, so yeah,
it's even one of those things where it's like I think if you are going, and again, I don't know because I've only gone with you personally,
yeah,
but like if I was to come to Los Angeles and go on like, a Warner Brothers tour or a Universal tour, again, you're kind of looking more at history more than you're looking
yeah,
at like, hey, this is a movie. And yeah, there are things happening there. And
yeah.
again, but it's not what it
No,
was.
well, and also
It's
if
not.
you look at how stuff was being filmed, something like The Mandalorian, with that dome,
Right.
with the projection screens, to where that's the future. If they're going to do practical, physical things, that's how they're going to do that. They don't need these giant stages, right? They don't need a
Yeah.
stage 16 at Warner Brothers. That's the biggest stage in the world that has a water tank and
Yeah.
where they did Ghostbusters
It's
and
just not that
Goonies.
days.
They
Yeah.
don't need that anymore. So what's going to happen to all that space and all that stuff? Because it's valuable space. Those lots are in the middle of LA County. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. I don't know what's going to happen. It's sad at the same time because that's a full Andy Bernard right now that I did not know I was at the end of something. I I started paying attention a little harder because I could feel something happening especially at CBS. I knew that was there was an inevitable fate for CBS Television City, and I started taking a lot of photos every time I was there at Talking Dead. I'd take my entire dinner break and walk around and just shoot photos of all the stages I used to work on and the areas and the because I knew, that for that place at least. I didn't realize it was going to be industry wide, you know.
Would you go as far as to say it's almost kind of like I don't want to say the word fail, but like, I guess, would you say it's almost like a failing industry now?
It's not that it's
Or it's
failing.
being
It's
failed?
not that
I
it's
don't know.
failing. It's
That's why I
it's
can't think of
it's
the word.
it's it's becoming extinct. That's probably
That's
a
what I'd
better
say.
word.
Yeah, maybe it's becoming extinct.
There's a few dinosaurs left,
Yeah.
and they're walking around, and they're doing their thing. But yeah, it's a weird time. We're right in that transition of all that stuff. So who knows? But the back to what you were saying about the LA and the stories and stuff, it's like that's why those stories are that much more valuable now because a lot of my stories and a lot of the things that I know are personal stories of like that
Yeah,
I'm
because
involved in and that those areas that I've lived in and
it's
the people that
not
I've
it's not
hung out
very
with and stuff.
hard, and maybe it's a fun hobby for people to go Google things, do your research,
Oh yeah,
do all your stuff. That's a fun hobby
I've
for
learned a
people.
lot
And
from weird rabbit
yeah,
holes on the internet.
yeah, like my point is though, when maybe there's a lot of Instagram I've seen where people do go and Google it, or they do their research, they have their photos or whatever it is on
Yeah,
the internet, which is great. That's
yeah,
why it's wonderful. I think it's really easy to do something like that, and it is an avenue, and you see that. But I think what's cool about you is that you're sharing things from personal experience, and there
right.
is a big difference
I
in
see what you
that.
mean.
I think there's
Yeah,
value to both,
no, there is. I know what you mean because
but I think what's fun about our channel that we're able to share with that, and that people have really they've stopped us at
yeah,
Disneyland and told us like it's very different and cool to get firsthand actual stories that are real,
yeah,
and not to say that other stuff is fake, but what I'm saying is anybody, and you have the tools to do this
yeah,
yourself,
yeah,
you can hit up Google, you can do all your research,
yeah.
and you could go look at like, where was this
You
filmed
could do a
or
filming locations video about anything,
anything.
but you're going to see 14,000 versions of it too because it's all
Yeah,
been done over and
which
over,
is
which
wonderful.
is fine. We're not saying that that's not fine. It's just that we're trying to say that this is, just a unique approach and a personal approach. And I have a lot of friends,
But I'm glad
the
that
same
people are
thing.
seeing that.
I have a lot of friends who are in that same place of they have their own unique set of stories and they're uh, either doing podcasts now or whatever they're doing.
Which is
And
so great.
because it's so funny how, and I'm sure everybody can relate to this, the set of memories that you have about a certain thing, like for me with like the graffiti culture and stuff, the set of memories that I have are finite. And then all of a sudden I'll run into an old friend that I haven't seen in 30 years and they'll tell me a story that I completely forgot about that I was involved in. I was there. Like, why don't I remember that? But for some reason or whatever, the hard drive pitched that one. And so the value in telling these stories is in that right there because maybe I'm telling a story that somebody else was involved in. They're like, I don't even remember that. And sometimes you don't even remember it happening at all. You're like, I did that? Really? I went there? Oh, I was there? Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, for a whole host of reasons that we won't get into. But again, the telling of those stories, is important and it's fun for everybody, I guess. So, I would do it anyways, I think. But I'm glad that people find, any value in it because,
Well, it's
uh,
also, I think a lot of other people have been enjoying seeing what they can go and do, and then
yeah,
maybe they could do the research that anybody can do,
yeah,
and they have the personal story.
yeah.
So I think that's a fun thing that we've been really enjoying doing.
Yeah.
And again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. Maybe instead of doing 4 Los Angeles videos with your history and spending the day and putting money into that, maybe we could have taken a trip to
Oh yeah.
Colorado or wherever it
Yeah,
may
yeah.
be.
But
But I'm really enjoying this part of it.
and you have to, because you also have to. I'm a big proponent of living in the now, and I know sometimes it's a trippy subject for people, but it's kind of all there really is if you want to get deep about things. The past is the past; it's gone. The future has not happened yet, so all we really have is the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say like, "This is what I feel like doing at this time and at this in this geography or in this point in my life," that is what I mean about following your bliss and tapping into what's in your heart, as opposed to like going, yeah, I really feel like doing this, but I should be going out and doing this. It's probably a better idea because I see a lot of people doing that and they're very successful with doing that. I should go do that. That's where the misstep is. I think personally, that's just my belief, to where you need to tap into what, and sometimes you don't even know why you feel a certain way. And for me, I've had it where it's I've it's made me like kind of frustrated to like, why don't I want to like do the thing? Why am I so, you know, bent on doing this and just staying like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go. I don't want to do this thing and I want to do this instead. And it's
I
like,
mean that's
it's a weird thing. And
yeah.
I've upset people before and things, in the
Well, even
past.
our audience, I feel like, again, in the last few years, we've made a pretty big change. And like I
Yeah.
said, you realize these changes were in 2020 and maybe a little bit after, and definitely before, we were all about like trying to do the theme parks. If you were to ask me in 2017, do you want to go to Tokyo Disneyland? Do you want to go to Shanghai Disneyland?
Yeah.
I would have been like, heck yeah, get me, let's do it. Now I would be like, nah, if I'm getting on a plane, I want to go see Germany. I want to go see Switzerland, or I
Right.
want to do. So it's how things have changed. But when you're saying about being frustrated, why are we not feeling that anymore? And I don't know what it is, but for some reason, my soul is not, and I'd be lying to you if I said my passion right now was to be doing theme park content, because it's not.
But I think, to be fair, there was a time when it was kind of that way, like you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know that I guess we did for a minute. We leaned into doing all that stuff, but I don't think that we really understood or or bought into what the construct of a theme park channel is now.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what we were buying into. We were just
True.
doing what we were doing, and it was very much the now thing was happening,
Yeah.
but we didn't really see it. We were like blinders, and that was a misstep on, like, I could say personally for me, I
Me
didn't
too.
see what was going on.
Me too.
I was in it, but I couldn't see what was going on. So in coming out of it, I think both of us were like, we could see it clear, and we were like, we don't want that. I don't want to be a part of that. I don't
Yeah.
want to. Is that what I look like? Is
Yeah.
that I don't you know Now that was then, and now we've kind of grown into this thing of like, no, we know what we are, and we know, as far as that stuff, and well, Disneyland specifically, we know exactly our place for ourselves, where that lies in our lives, and the importance it has in our lives and what it means to us,
Yeah.
beyond the channel and the channel. We have a firm grip on our place, and like, you know what I mean, how you feel like I'm in where I should be. You know what I mean? We
Yep.
understand our place there, and we know it has zero to do with being obsessive, in terms of that's all we're going to do, because that wouldn't be real. And our channel is Best Life and Beyond, and if we're going to live under that name and that title, we're trying to live our best life, and we're being as honest as we can about it, because you're not going to live your best life and and fake it. Why? What's the point? Like, especially coming from somebody who's over 50, I can tell you, your mortality starts to become a little more real as far as you see it, and things are a little different as far as what you base your decisions on.
Right.
So I can tell you, I'm not wasting time with stuff that is not real, because at this point, how when you go see it with like grandpas and stuff, they don't care.
No.
They're gonna break wind. They don't care. They don't. They're just like over it, right? And so I'm like I'm not quite at that point, but what I'm
God.
saying is, like, you get to a point where you're just like, dude, don't sweat the small stuff. It's that, right?
Yeah. And don't worry about how things look or
It's all gonna be fine. It's all gonna be fine. We get so caught up in the oh, and did you hear what they said? And it's like, look,
you have to let that go.
you got to let it go. And I also, I've been a little bit more unhinged in certain ways about, like, listen, I'm not going to play, I'm not going to handhold people who come at me with some weird comment. I'm not going to be like, well, maybe you didn't understand what I meant. Like, no, I'm clear, and I'm very confident in my ability to use the English language and to
Yeah.
tell people how I feel.
Right.
Therefore, if someone comes adversely and has a problem, I will come back and defend my position pretty strong. And sometimes people get a little offended, but it's like, I'm sorry, I'm confident in my truth.
It's like
Sorry.
Imagine a world where you think that you're like, we've had this before where people go, you should have responded this way. And it's like, if you're so confident in telling me how to respond, why don't you just make your own channel, or why don't you watch somebody who does respond the way you want to? Like,
right.
I don't understand why you're trying to get Katie and Spencer to do and act and be what you want us to be. Like, we're not puppets.
Well, and on top of that, be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Be really honest with yourself and ask yourself, do you really think we're going to respond to you?
Yeah.
Like, no, really.
Yeah.
I don't know you. I'm not disparaging you. You're probably a great person. You probably are, do great things in life for people and have a good thing going. But I don't know you from you could be a bot. I don't even know if you're real.
Right.
I don't. I respect you.
You could even be like,
but like,
yeah, you have to understand too, like, I think it has changed us going through that experience over the last year and having the amount of, like, I mean, we have a grown person that stalks us. Once you've gone through that, you kind of like look at things where you're like, this person could be as crazy as that. And so you just don't know. So again, we kind of, once you've gone through that, you just kind of I gotta be me. I gotta say what I'm gonna say. And I can't change, and I won't. Like, I'm not gonna say things to make you like me or to seem popular or to whatever. Like, I just don't think people underestimate how much we don't care about that stuff anymore. Like, we don't. And there was a time where I did. There was a time where it was like, oh boy, like, I don't want to get canceled.
Yeah.
I've been canceled 4 times. We'll probably get canceled next week. I don't care. Like,
great, bring it.
do it.
But
you have to understand, we're living our best lives. We're happy. We're going to respond, but we're not going to cater our responses to how you want us to respond. If you are one of those people, bots, whatever you may be, we're not going to live in that world. We're just not. So,
I mean, who does that though? Really? Like, who would do that?
People do it all the time. What are you talking about?
Well, I'm saying, like, who would be, if you were to like really say what this is, like, someone be a pushover for someone.
Hello, that's like,
I don't know. How
many channels operate that way? Because
I don't know. I don't operate their channels,
business.
but like, to me,
you know that.
To me, it's just funny that at this point, it's almost like, find somebody else to do this, because I'm gonna respond in a way that you're probably not going to appreciate if you do come at me like that. And I'm sorry that's not that's not how it's done for most people on YouTube. Good for them. It's like, I'm also not a copycat, so you're not going to see me act like other people.
Yeah.
Which proves my genuine, manner. It proves it right there.
Yeah.
Sometimes people get a little taken by it, but it's just an honesty thing, and it's kind of like, hey, don't do that. You ever see over there in England where they have the guard on the horse that's guarding the palace,
mm-hmm.
and the people come and take pictures, and they try to stand next to the horse, and they'll try to grab the horse, and the guy will freak out and he'll check them and back them off and scare them, and everybody's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. They get really like, hey, hey, and it's like, hey, man, like this guy clearly is doing a job. You're messing with him, and he's, you messed around and you found out. Whose fault is that? And who's really the one who's misstepped here? So that's kind of the same thing. You're going to blame the horse for, or the guy on the horse who's protecting the palace, and you got people taking photos in front of you, like selfies, and acting a fool. Like who's in the wrong in that situation? And it's a good analogy, I think, for that type of thing. Mess around and find out.
So anyway, moving forward, we are just enjoying. We are fully into spring. Summer is around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
We are definitely going to continue our beach content. I know a lot of people have been enjoying that as well. So again, there might be a shift where it's like maybe we are traveling a little bit more, maybe we're not. We're just kind of going with the flow, and we're doing the best we can. We're keeping the updates for you. We appreciate all of the feedback. And I'm looking forward to everything. Like every day I wake up, for the most part, I'm pretty dang excited and pretty dang happy.
Yeah.
Which I think since, all that stuff that happened in 2020 with the Rona and all that stuff and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's nice to have that, right? Like it's nice to wake up and be stoked and happy and excited. And I feel that way. Yeah. I do. So I hope you guys enjoyed that little update. We hope you all had a wonderful Easter, and we are so glad for everybody who is here, whether you've been with us for a long time, whether you have just subscribed recently. Welcome. We are so happy to have you here, and we look forward to more fun coming up. So Greta also has very much enjoyed all of your comments, and she's been reading them.
Yes.
And she loves being here on the channel, and we've enjoyed her rescue life and sharing all of the good stuff with her too.
Absolutely. And she says thank you to all the Patreons. She says thank you guys for watching. She says she's going to watch for the squirrel, so she'll see you next time on Best Life and Beyond.